Yeah, what's poppin', guys? You got your boy Nandro here. Welcome to another video. So for this video, I'm playing some Aggro Dragon. This is gonna be the intro to building. I'll go ahead and talk about how I came to this deck, why I picked the pieces I picked, and I'll go ahead and in the next video, which will be later today, I'll go ahead and show you guys the concept game this is. The deck is pretty fire. So in order to show you how it was that I came to this list, I have to go ahead and I have to tell you a story. So on the stream the other day, I was playing some like viewer decks, and like my boy Cookie, he sent me this like mid-range tilting windmills deck. Basically, it's still the same old tilting windmills, but it has like some meme aspects to it. Like for example, it's playing Hamsa. Yes, this is an animated Hamsa that I happen to have for this. And it also plays some partial Strix. So from playing these games, I got reminded about how good impartial Strix is sometimes. Like playing impartial Strix is one that's like you 100% need to get it either versus a deck that has absolutely no answer to it. Like for example, versus say things like Shadow or whatever, in which they somehow didn't have a board, they can like play Strix naked. Being able to resolve the naked Strix like is usually GG versus so many decks. Like for example, versus Dragon, you play the Strix on 4, they haven't ramped yet. They can't even just like try to evo symbol into that. You win that game. If they don't have the Scyther, you win that game. And just being able to meet the condition of you go first, you play 2-drop on 2, you play like a 3-drop on 3, you make trades both times, then you play the Strix, then you evolve the Strix to hit them in the face because they didn't have an answer, and then maybe say play like a second Strix after that. That's a GG, like GG no re. And so like after that I was like, okay, let me go ahead and try to like make like a more like streamlined deck where I could go ahead and just like center it. So I'm sorry about that. Center it around the Strix and just try to like resolve the Strix and have that be like my entire like win con. Granted, it's a pretty like flimsy win con, and I immediately realized it right afterwards. But from there, I then realized that okay, well, Aggro Dragon's in a really good spot right now. The reason being is that like generally when you play Dragon, every opponent that you're going to be facing, they're all expecting you 100% to be Ramp Dragon, and this is both good and bad. Like it's really good on ladder, just because because it's closed deck list, they're not going to know that they're not Ramp Dragon, and they're going to mulligan incorrectly. And to be honest with you, mulligans decide a very strong portion of the game. Like if you mulligan incorrectly, it can lose you the game on the spot. Like for example, if you think your opponent's Dirt Rune and then they actually turn to be Daria, yeah, you're gonna lose. If you think your opponent is like Aggro Roach and it turns to be like Wolf Elephant, yeah, you're gonna lose. And that's a very big thing. And I wanted to take advantage of it when I was playing. So as a result, I then came up with Aggro Dragon. So we'll talk about each of the cards, because like I play this deck in a very interesting manner that not a lot of people are gonna play it, like just because I've played that many Dragon games. I've played, like I have like recorded wise, I have about 2,500 Lens of Dragon. Unrecorded, I have like easily 5,000 plus. So triple Goblin, you're aggro. Enough said. Like Goblin is gross. 1 Wise Merman. So to be honest with you, I see a lot of people like play 3 Wise Merman and also like 2 Wise Merman. To be honest with you, I think in this particular, I think one Wise Merman is the most correct. The reason being is that like there are a lot of 1/2s in the metagame, and if you're going second, you really don't want to have any of these 1-drops in your hand because you're gonna feel bad about it. Like Goblins may be okay, but you definitely want to try to avoid having the Wise Merman. The Wise Merman does let you like let you like trade up with goblins and things like that, and just like help you like push like 1 extra damage. It's basically like being a 1 mana angelic snipe, except like it's more conditional, which is good. 2 Dragon Horde. So this one was a big one. So in order to talk about the Dragon Horde, I have to go ahead and talk about the Ailas. So I see a lot of times in these Aggro Dragon lists, whenever I see this sometimes, is that people like aren't playing new Ayla. I think that's like possibly a mistake, just because like at some point you're gonna have to evo to trade to protect your board anyway. So if you evo Happy Pig, that doesn't do anything for you. If you evo Feria, you maybe say get like 1 Feria trigger. So you maybe say get 1 Feria trigger. To be honest with you, evoing to get 1 Feria trigger isn't that much to me. Like I usually want to do it and get 2 triggers at least. if you either for Lyriel, like literally is the only other good evolve on like your 4 or like your 5. And I wanted to have something else that was like good when I evolved it. So I was playing Ayla. The Ayla helps you like play out more cards, which can help you get to a win a little bit faster sometimes. But also it gives you the ramp. It gives you the ramp, which makes playing Dragon Horde an actual possibility. Dragon Horde is basically, well, in this deck will be 7 mana, deal 4 to 6. Because you'll play it, you'll get 2 Maelstrom Dragons in your hand. You'll be in overflow when you want to play this. So that means you have a 2 mana 2/1 deal 2, and it's just really good. It's also a compact storm as well. Like it doesn't cost much. It doesn't cost as much to storm with this as say other things do. You might be wondering, oh well, if you're playing this Nandra, why wouldn't you play Stormborn Wings? Well, I don't want to play Stormborn Wings, because Stormborn Wings is absolutely an actual garbage top deck. If you top deck that with no cards in here, you're gonna feel bad. Whereas with this card, you actually generate cards, and you deal in exchange for dealing 1 less damage. That's actually a big deal. For Lyriel, like I said, like Lyriel is the other quintessential aggro 2-drop. Once you just play it, you evolve it, it deals no damage, and you maybe use it to make trades to get like a possible 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 or whatever. This is really good. Faria is also another win con. Like Faria is honestly the reason why you play any like 1-drops or Wise Mermaids at all. Just because being able to go on 5, 2-drop, 1-drop, Faria evolve, get 2 triggers, that's usually GG in a lot of spots, especially because like most times when you're playing aggro, like it's going to be a naked board. If it's not a naked board, you're already winning the game, and this just lets you win even harder. And if it is a naked board, they can't contest, because like there's not enough rules to get rid of everything, so they probably take at least 7 damage and they just like win the game that way. Do Happy Pig? Happy Pig is a neutral. That's probably the biggest reason why we play it. Also, Dragon doesn't really have like good 2-drops in the first place, so we also play for that. The heal's kind of nice sometimes, but that's usually pretty anecdotal for when it doesn't come up. On the flip side though, sometimes, right? So there's a version of Dragon. Sorry, there's like a net deck of Dragon that's going around that's like a windmills Dragon deck that plays Happy Pig and Kai'Sa's. So sometimes when we play out the Happy Pig on 2 first. But before you've like played out any of your like 1-drops or whatever, so people get mistaken and think that you're actually that version of Dragon, when in reality you're aggro. So 3 Ella Dragon Sword, again, we already covered this. Like you just want it for the ramp. You also want it because it's a 2-drop. That again, it kind of baits people. It kind of baits people even harder into thinking that you're like traditional ramp Dragon. You're not. 3 Breathless Salamanders. So Breathless Salamander is another win con in this deck. Like, again, as I said before, you typically tend to make a lot of boards with this deck, and you want to try to play it in a sort of like mid-rangey fashion. That like, okay, if you ever make a board and your opponent tries to just play creatures into the board and not actually contest and not actually like remove units from your side of the board, and you Breathless Salamander them, well, you win. You win because they just ate like 5 to 7 damage. They don't have a board anymore, and now they have to try this again and hope that you don't have a second Salamander, because if you have a second Salamander, that's obviously the GG. But usually the first time this happens, it's usually good enough to just win the game on the spot. 2 Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's really good. Kai'Sa just helps you like not fall behind. Just because like you will be like having a lot of your pieces die and just kind of suicide them away sometimes. And the Kai'Sa just helps you like play the long game if you need to. Like I've always been a big fan of Kai'Sa. And my long-term viewers will know that, and this is no different. 3 Angelic Knight. So this one's a big one. So Angelic Knight, it synergizes really well with this deck because again, we have the compact storm of this, and then we also have other things that we can buff as well. Like for example, Afa and Basilisk Rider, which we'll be talking about shortly. The other thing is that's a ward. This isn't really talked about as often, but it's definitely something that I want to address here. Even as aggro, you do need to play wards of some sort in order to protect your bigger dudes. It's actually more so important here that they use, it's a different sort of aspect of playing wards than how say decks like say control play them, because like when Control plays a ward, they play it simply because they don't want you to hit because they like don't want you to like hit their face. When like Aggro plays a ward, they play it because they don't want you to kill their biggest dude, and that's a big thing here. Like just because like it can buff anything, and that's important, and it's just really annoying for your opponent to deal. If you don't want to play this, you can actually play Grimnir instead. Grimnir is actually really annoying for a similar reason. Just because it's a 2/3, and that actually blows back Rune really hard if you're going first. Next card, Pure-Hearted Singer. So this is one of those things. This is another thing that doesn't really get talked about as often. But like when you're playing aggro, you will run out of cards at some point. You're gonna like because like most of your cards are pretty low value, and they usually don't like stretch their value that much. So you are going to run out of cards. And Pure-Hearted Singer is just really annoying, and just helps you reload and not run out of cards. And most times what will happen is that you'll play the singer, but like the singer will kind of just like, you know, get through, get a bunch of damage. It can get damage from the Angelic Knight. It can get buff from the Wise Merman. That doesn't really happen often, but it does happen. It just helps take for your storm pieces, and just helps, you know, keep it moving. 3 Aphra Wyvern Rider. So this is another big one. I don't often see these see any of these get played in Aggro Dragon or anything like that. But I think that they need to. Like Aphra is basically like the forte that we didn't even know that we wanted, but we do. Aphra is really scary because like for 1 mana more than forte, she has plus 2 HP base, and then can go up to 5 HP. 5 HP on a unit that you can't attack is gross, and we've already seen this. We've seen this from PDK. Like how many times that has a 5 HP PDK been on the board? And it's like, well, shit, I can't do anything. I lost. A lot. And this is no exception, because in this case, this girl will be punching in the face for 6. 6 represents a very fast timer, because again, she's coming down on 7 mana, so you've already taken a little bit of damage, which means that you cannot afford to like let her hit you in the face twice. But you're going to be hard pressed. You're going to be like forced to kind of do so. Hell, even without an evolve, she's still really good, just because like most of the removal got soaked by all of these other units, and that's just really insane. Next card is 3 Basilisk Rider. So this one I know is going to, you know, catch some heads, but Basilisk Rider is actually insane in aggro. It's also insane in a few other versions of Dragon. And this one of those cards that kind of like went under the radar for a lot of people, and no one is talking about this. Basilisk Rider is so good because like Basilisk Rider is right. So new Ayla to me isn't an Ayla replacement. It's actually a replacement for I believe her name is I don't remember what her name was, but basically the 3 mana 2/3 dragon card that ran to with an evolve. Yeah, this card is a replacement for that card, whereas Basilisk Rider is a replacement for old Ayla. The reason why I'm saying this is because like this card is literally a bitch. Like you don't want to. It's so hard to interact with this card because like if you evolve it on your opponent, okay, it's only a 4/4 that has Bane, so you can't just like try to value trade into it. You have to remove it because it's 4 damage and you're versus aggro. If you do remove it, oh hey, look at that. They have another guy that has Bane underneath it, can also be evolved, and it still represents the same exact issue. So it forces a lot of awkward spots. And most times, from what I've been seeing, a lot of people just will not know how to deal with it. Like, hell, even for me personally, like the first few times that I played versus this card, it's like, wow, this card is actually wow. And I know that for those of you who play Take 2, you should already know just how good Basilisk Rider is there, and it still holds the same here. But playing with Basilisk Rider, it requires like a certain like, I guess a certain like knowledge of Dragon or whatever, because a lot of times like you want to try to protect this dude as much as possible. So that's like to say, okay, well in your certain matchups, right, if you want to go ahead and try to evolve it, you want to go ahead and try to get it on a naked board, so this way your opponent doesn't get options into dealing with it. Like they have to give you like mega premium removal, but that doesn't exist in this format because like for 4 damage removal or 4 damage AoEs, like those are hard to come by. So if you can just like, you know, make it a 4/4. And then just like kind of terrorize your opponent with it, it's great. It gives you constant bodies for Angelic Knight, and that's a big deal. It gives you constant bodies for Hippogryph Rider, again, big deal. also a constant body for Phoenix Rider. Yeah, like this card is one of the unsung heroes of Dragoncraft. This expansion, in which like he's both fair and also bullshit at the same time, which I know is like paradoxical, but it's true. The next card is Hippogryph Rider. So Hippogryph Rider is the other reason why I'm playing out why I'm playing out the Isla reprint. So the reason being is that Hippogryph Rider, it actually scales really well the more mana you have. The more mana you have and the more attackers you have, it scales really well. Now obviously you're almost surely not going to get the curve where you just get to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and you don't get interrupted, because of course if you didn't get interrupted when this Hippogryph Rider comes down, he'll single-handedly do 6 damage by himself, and that should be enough to end the game. But we want to try to go ahead and we want to try to combo the Hippogryph Rider with again the Basilisk Rider and also the Dragon Horde. So Hippogryph Rider plus Dragon Horde is getting the Maelstrom Dragon's Burst on a separate turn and then playing the Hippogryph Rider on a later turn is a really strong combo, because it's 9 mana and then it's 9 mana, deal 8, because and the way you factor this in is that like you basically just give +1 attack to everything that's attacking, but kind of like in a more like abstract fashion. And that's a really strong combo, because 8 damage, that's all storm. It's a lot. Additionally, the Hippogryph Rider, for being a storm unit, he actually is pretty tanky too, which is also a big deal, because it means that sometimes you can just kind of like tempo him on 5, make some trades, and make him just be obnoxious. Another thing is that Hippogryph Rider is really scary versus Dragon on 5, because if they haven't ramped yet, that means that they have to kill it with Scyther if you can get the evolve onto the Hippogryph Rider. Because what it'll mean is that the Hippogryph Rider will be a 6 HP unit, which means Sybil can't clear it by herself unless they have like 6 mana Sybil plus Blazing Breath, and that means that they have to find a Scyther. If they don't have a Scyther, Hippogryph Rider becomes like the scariest dude in the game, because he just like hits for 1 billion and you just can't recover from that. Like, it's just a really strong Haymaker card. And of course, speaking of Haymakers, here we come to the Phoenix Rider Aina. Phoenix Rider Aina is one again another like unsung hero. For Aggro. Now granted, it's not really as unsung as again the Basilisk Rider, but it's still a very strong card. I remember when this card first came out and people were like, oh well, it's just like it's basically a worse Forte. Nope, not true. So Aina is one of those cards that, like, because it has such a high base HP, again, it makes it problematic for people to trade into it sometimes when you're fighting for board like each and every step of the way. Yes, Forte can say the same thing too. However, Forte can still just randomly have your opponent just like slip by and like have removal and just have the 2 or 3 damage removal to clear it. Phoenix Rider, that's a lot harder to say. Most times your Phoenix Rider will be at least a 4/7, sometimes even bigger. So far, I believe the biggest one I've had the biggest one I've had like recently was like a 6/7, or not 6/7, was a 8/7. I'm sorry, 8/7. And that's just really scary, just because it's one of those, like, it's easy to kind of like play around, maybe say, I don't know, maybe say play around like random like 5 damage or whatever, or maybe like 4 damage or anything like that. But when you're Aggro Dragon, most people don't know the finishers that Aggro Dragon has, and that does make up for a very big thing. Because a lot of times when people are playing versus Aggro, they need to like commit things to the board. Well, Phoenix Rider Aina is a big punish to that. Like, it basically punishes your opponent for doing something that they know that they have to do if you want to win the game. If they take extra time doing it, that means you can use one of your other storm units in order to get to the game, in order to get to a win. If they do it immediately and they're already low enough, well, Phoenix Rider just comes in and just like revenge kills them, and it's just like, wow, I got bodied. The deck is a lot of fun to play. It's also really cheap too, which with only 6 golds, or I lied, 9 golds, a bunch of silvers, and some bronzes. I've also been having a lot of fun playing the deck as well. I currently, alright, so I played 6 games, I won 5. So it's like, what, like about an 80% win rate, something like that. Like, really truly a lot of fun to play. So go ahead and give it a shot if you're trying to, like, make a late game push for top 10k, make a late game push for Masters. anything like that. I'll definitely be playing it myself more this month. It's really cool. Definitely go ahead and give it a try. Anywho, if you enjoyed the video, go and leave a like. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. Let me know what you think about Aggro down in the comments below. And thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys.